Oh. Oh, man. Get some coffee. This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier. Yes, I've had too much coffee. Oh, man. And I'm joined by the amazing Antoine M. Dillard. But first... You write something on my face? Antoine, how are you, sir?
I am great.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon.
No problem, man. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks. Yeah. I've checked out your IMDb page, and you've been making movies and TV shows for quite a while. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how you got into filmmaking?
Wow. Okay, that's a.
I know it's a
big question. Okay, so went to school for it. I'm originally from Delaware, so
Cool.
went to school at Art Institute of Philadelphia. Graduated from there. Then ended up going to Digital Media Arts College in Florida. Graduated from there, and moved to Colorado. And then I started getting into independent filmmaking. Well, and not first.
Mm-hmm.
I was in, I guess you'd call it, independent filmmaking scene.
Okay.
So I got my first foot in the door doing a horror movie called Hakati, and I was just doing visual effects on there because that's my background. That's what I graduated for. So did visual effects on there. Got into a couple of other things, mind you, all for free, which is just fine as long as it's fun, Yeah. So after doing that, I think my last production I worked for someone else was Interdimension, which was a great TV show we did.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be pitched to Guy MTV and the whole nine. So that happened, and then after that, I started doing stuff on my own. I was like, you know what, I got stories to tell. Let me tell some stories. So did a TV show first, talk show, because there's a lot of leeway with those. So I did a couple of talk shows, just having some crazy. It was insane. It was the most insane stuff you'll ever see. It had visual effects in it. I mean, I was on a starship at one time, shooting people with gun hands, and it was totally nuts.
It's kind of like Eric Andre type stuff.
Yeah, it was half talk show, half like skit.
Okay.
I remember there was one of the episodes I remember. It was I was talking with myself, so I had a guest on, and then I had myself that was pre-recorded, and I was like reacting to myself, and it was insane. He was my twin brother, but it was totally nuts. And then after that, I worked on my first film, which was Rise of the Avalanche, neo noir, and it turned out great. And then from there, I was just off to the races. Cool.
That's cool. Yeah, man. So it sounds like it's a pretty varied path, but you also I noticed did something called Crazy Weapon 5. Is that right?
Yes, that was my first feature film. It's an action sci-fi, and the whole title is just a big play on words. It's the first movie, even though it says Crazy Weapon 5. The gun that is the movie surrounds itself, around, is called the Crazy Weapon version 5. It's a prototype weapon.
Nice.
And then you have two time cops from the future that go back to the past, which is the 70s. So they're going back in the past for the first time. So back for the first time.
Right.
But it's just, it was a lot of fun, man. The cast was amazing. The acting, it speaks for itself. You can see on IMDb, I got 2 Best Director awards. The star got 2 Best Actress awards, and then the co-star got nominated for Best Actor. Even the comic relief was nominated for Best Comic Relief. So it was just awesome. awards all the way around for everyone. It was great. It was a great experience. It was a great project. It's so fun.
Oh, that's so cool. And now you're about to release a short film
Yes.
called The Sack Man. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, well, okay. So the project came about me. My son, he loves doing YouTube videos and stuff, and he's a little filmmaker at heart. So I was like, you know what? What's something cool that we could do together that would kind of bring us a little closer, kind of little father-son stuff.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah.
So I got up an idea just then, with him, and he liked it, and we just filmed in his bedroom. And it came out great. I was like, man, you know what? This is something. So let me go ahead and put it on Any Nation Network, which is my streaming service, and put it out in film festival, see what happens. And I put it out to one so far, and we got nominated. And then there's a bunch more coming after the release of film festivals we need to hear back from. But it's great. And I'm not sure if you guys know about the Sack Man or not. A lot of people from the U.S. don't.
No, I'm unfamiliar.
And I was unfamiliar too until I did research before the film. Okay. So the Sack Man is an old Latin folk tale from, like way back in the day, early 1900s, 1800s, and it's about this man who, he's like the boogeyman. So if there's a naughty kid, he comes out of the closet with a sack, and he grabs a kid, he puts him in the sack, and takes him away.
Oh dear!
Kid is never to be seen again. And this is like an old folk tale from, I think it's pretty much like Brazil, a lot of Latin American countries and stuff like that. Okay. So in the beginning of the film, I kind of explained that, who the Sack Man is and everything. But that's where I got the idea to do the Sack Man movie.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the trailer online a while ago. I think when you and I were first talking like a month or so ago. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking of Boogeyman, Candyman was something that came to mind as well, and just those dark things that go bump in the night. A lot of the like Blumhouse type productions, like I don't know if Sinister was one of those, but I remember I don't think I saw that movie, but I remember it was pretty striking. So this is a really fun project because it was something that you and your son could creatively do. What a wonderful bonding experience.
Yeah, and it was a total spur of the moment thing, and a spur of the moment being like a couple days before we did it, and we had a lot of fun. And with all my projects, whether it's a feature film like Crazy Weapon 5 or just a little short like The Sack Man, it's just I do this because I want to have fun doing it, and most of us know there's no money in this stuff, but as long as you're having fun, man, and you're having a ball between takes and you're doing something you can be proud of later, that's what it's all about. So to be able to share that with my son, you know what I mean? It was great. It was great. He had fun. I had fun. My wife makes a little cameo in it. It was awesome.
Cool. So it was a complete family experience.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I love the idea of like families getting together doing creative projects. Comes to mind Christopher Mim. He's further east of here, and we had him as a guest on at Colorado Festival of Horror. But he does these wonderful 1950s homage horror movies. Very very inexpensive, and it involves not only his family but the whole town.
That's awesome.
they produce like a film, almost one film a year.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun doing that. So it sounds like your experience kind of reminds me of what he was conveying too. And so, man, that's awesome if you're able to do that. We do have our friend Nick Goins just chimed in and wanted to say hello. Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Yeah, and I wanted to say, thanks to you and Nick for helping us out at Colorado Festival of Horror and participating in the panels there.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. Nick's a cool dude, and got to meet him. We got to do a panel together, interact with the crowd. So it was some cool stuff, man. I wish I could have saw you. I was looking for you. I was like, oh,
yeah. At the time, I was the little gimpy guy, scooting around on a scooter. I'm getting over fractured tibia. Well, I can walk.
Oh.
I can walk now. I no longer walk like a drunken toddler. So now it's more like a drunken teenager.
Stepping up.
That's right. More sophisticated.
Man, it was funny. I wore a shirt. It was Camp Crystal Lake.
Oh, cool.
And then at the back it said Camp Counselor. And I ran into Jason and his mom, and they were like, "Oh, you're a camp counselor, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." At first, it didn't register. At first, I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Oh, you got away," and then chased me.
Oh no!
People were laughing. I'm trying to find the room. Supposed to do the panel, and meanwhile, I'm getting chased by Jason and his mom.
Yeah.
I wish I could have got a picture of that. That was great.
Oh yeah. I think I know who you were talking about. That the guy in the Jason cosplay. We had a nice big cosplay fashion show type thing, and so he was in it and a few others. Yeah, I can't remember who won. I think it was somebody who did like a children's ghost based off of a children's book or something. So. So we have all kinds. That's the beauty of that sort of stuff. Variety. It makes it so much more enriching.
Definitely.
Yeah. So no, that's cool. Yeah, I appreciate you coming out, and we've got a mutual friend too in Keetrick Copeland, and I met him probably about 10 years ago when we were promoting his Colfax and 15th movie with my friend Stefan Santa Cruz. He was, I think, the co-director on that. But it sounds like you and him go back quite a ways too.
Yeah, man, it's so funny. I remember when I first got out of school and I had moved over here to Colorado, and I was just like, I need to start doing, using my degree. I don't I don't care in what capacity, if I'm getting paid or not. I just want to be able to use my degree and have fun. So I posted online. I was like, anybody looking for a visual effects artist? And
cool.
A mutual friend of ours, Kasha, reached out and he was like, "Oh, I have this project I want you to work on, but I don't know how good you are."
Okay.
Which is like, it was fair. I don't have a demo reel, so she was like, "You know what? Come work on this project, Picardi, and if you do well on this one, then we'll get you on the other one." And I killed that project, man. We won so many awards. It was great. and after that, and that was the project that was produced by Jazz, Keetrick. So he produced that movie. It was his baby, but it was her story. And that's how I met him. And from there on, man, he's just a cool dude. It's not often you meet really cool people, a lot of people have egos. And so he wasn't one of those guys. And, we still have a working relationship and we still talk. And he's going to be in my upcoming movie, House of Ra. And he was in one of my movies, Gotta Make It, a couple of years ago. So, yeah. Nice.
Can you talk about, House of Ra? Is that in pre-production right now?
Yeah, it's right now. I'm casting. I'm scouting locations. Cool. Script is already done. Been copyrighted through the U.S. Copyright Office. So it's in the very beginnings of picking up. But that one it's hard to explain. It's always so hard to explain my movies. Oh, okay. I'm like the only one that does sci-fi, I feel like. But it's basically a post-apocalyptic that doesn't happen on Earth. It takes place on another planet, and they're basically trying to find a way to replenish their resources. So they have to go and take a trip into space, find this resource, come back. So there's space travel, no guns. I kind of combine it. If I had to combine it with a bunch of movies to kind of explain what it would look like, it's a cross between the show Krypton. If you ever seen that.
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes of that. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a cross between Krypton, Into the Badlands.
Okay.
I'd say Star Trek and Black Panther. So.
Oh, awesome.
As far as the weaponry and stuff. So it's crazy, but it's going to be cool.
Yeah, that sounds like quite the undertaking.
Yeah, and if I didn't have the background in visual effects that I do have, I probably wouldn't be able to pull it off.
Okay, cool. God, that sounds amazing. Yeah, when do you hope to start, filming
We're filming the first week of May. I just talked with one of the guys I used to work with, Carlos Leos. Guy's fantastic. He was the comedy relief, the comic relief in Crazy Weapon 5.
Okay.
But he started directing. He has his own studio. So I met with him yesterday, actually.
Nice.
Looked around. So we're going to be filming the bulk of it in there. But then there's some other locations I gotta knock down. But yep, first week of May, I'm going to be doing it, man. Just going out there and doing it.
Nice. So when you say first week of May, so May 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a few months. So that's good.
Yeah. I like to give the actors plenty of time to get the script to them, read it, everybody comfortable. So I take my time. Nice. But once I get it filmed, it's like a rocket. But before then, taking my time, making sure it's done right, so we can do like 1 or 2 takes at the most. That's
cool. Nick just chimed back in. Sup? Had fun with my guy there at COFOH, and glad you're back on your feet, Dan. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. It was a lot of fun, man. It was, and I gotta hit you up again, man. We gotta hang out sometime soon.
Yeah, most definitely. He's a great guy. He's got a number of irons in the fire as well, and some event stuff too.
Yeah, I missed the barbecue, but we're definitely going to do something soon. So
nice. Yeah, now, Antoine, you also have a streaming service, and we're scrolling the website, inationnetwork.com at the bottom. Tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be.
Okay, so my story is going to be unique from everybody else's, but there's different variations of this. I'm really passionate. I'm always on Twitter. Try to be on Facebook, but I'm not on there as much. But I'm really passionate about independent filmmaking. I tweet about it all the time. I talk about it all the time.
Nice.
It's just Hollywood. They just recycle the same old stuff, the same old actors. It's like you get these reboots, that are like 5 years old. You get these sequels that are like 20-year-old sequels.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to be a festival judge for a couple of film festivals.
Oh, cool.
And you can, I think I'm pretty sure I put it in my bio. I can't remember the names of the festivals. I'm sorry, guys. But I've been able to see a lot of independent films through my experience being a festival judge. And I'm like, man, why are we not seeing this stuff? You know what I mean? And out there. I go to Amazon, I go to Tubi, I go to Netflix. I don't see anything as close as original as what I'm seeing out there, and the quality is insane. And there may be 1 or 2, maybe like Altered Carbon with Netflix, or a couple of others that are like, it's very few and far between, and they get canceled right away. And it's just like, I know all these people that are actors, that are filmmakers, that are doing these films, busting their butts, and then it sits on the shelf because Amazon's rejecting them or an aggregator's rejecting them. I had a terrible experience with I forget what they were called. I can't remember the name, but it was a big aggregator, and they wanted me to get rid of the bars top and bottom from Crazy Weapon and make the audio a little louder when they during the shootout scene. And it's like, dude, like the shootout scene you're supposed to barely hear it because it's a shootout. You know what I mean? I'm not getting rid of bars from top and bottom, because that's the experience that I want the audience to have, when they watch my film. Yeah, exactly. I want to be widescreen. I want like, this is what I want my audience to see. This is the experience that I've paid out the nose for, that we busted our butts for people to see. Yeah. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with Amazon, cutting us from, I would think it was like 1 cent per streaming minute to 0.001 per streaming minute.
Right.
And these aggregators, telling me what I can and can't have on my films. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create my own streaming service. And then I look, and it's an insane amount of money to do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back to you soon.
Yeah.
And then, the stimulus checks come out now. You know what? I'm going to take the stimulus check instead of going and blowing it on the TV or something around me. I'm going to start a business with it. So I started Any Nation Network with it. We're about 5 months old, and
Nice.
and I just did it, man. I just did it, and I'm paying out more. I pay out 5 cents per streaming minute to the filmmakers, which is more than anybody else does.
Wow.
And I do it because I'm not doing this for me to make money. I'm doing it for, to make money, of course, as a business.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for the filmmakers. So the money that we make from subscriptions, the $5 a month that we get, that's all going to the filmmakers. That's all going to them. The rest of the money is going to overhead. It's about being able to put your work on a platform and have people see it and watch it exactly how you intended. Yeah. So I'm not going to say, as long as it looks good as far as visually, as long as the audio is not crazy and unacceptable, come be on the Indie Nation Network. We're in over, I think, close to 200 countries worldwide. As far as the website goes, it's everywhere. It's on iOS. I'm working to get it on other platforms as well. But
cool.
It's for us, and it's a platform made by an independent filmmaker, because I'm not stopping making movies. Yeah. And it's for independent filmmakers and people who love independent movies, independent films. Right. So sorry if I kind of rambled on a little bit there, but
it's fine. This sounds, absolutely amazing. And I think, people out there need to support this effort.
Yeah. And it's great. And I got a lot of really amazing filmmakers out there that are really rallying behind it, supporting it. They get it. There's a lot of filmmakers that I have talked to and they don't get it. They're like, what? I want to be on Tubi, or I want to be on Netflix. And it's like, dude, you go there and you're going to be buried. No one's going to find your stuff. One of the things that Indie Nation Network does is advertise 2 ads per film. And I advertise constantly on a loop, your film. I put it out there. I put it on the platforms. I talk about it, even on this podcast here. You know what I mean? Doing media for it. I do all this stuff for and there's films on there that are amazing. Neosha Beams and the her horror movie that's on there, freaking Popping Up, and there's so many. Even the experimental films that are on there by Ian Austin. He does great work. I'm not really into experimental stuff, but my wife loves that stuff, and there's an audience for it, and they love his stuff. So that's and these are the type of people that either they get on these big platforms and they get buried, or they're like, we don't want your film because it's too different, or it's not up to what we like.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I'll throw up the marketing materials that you sent. Let me turn off the banner here real quick so people can see that. But you can download it at the Apple App Store, and for your devices, I'd imagine. And
right.
Then, only $4.99 a month. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of independent streaming services that I've dealt with, and they're a lot of those guys got really good hearts, but they're only on online, which is great. So with Indie Nation Network, you have that added option of being on have an app as well. Right. Not to mention, of course, being paid out as much as I pay out. I had a couple of filmmakers they were like, "Are you sure you want to do 5 cents per streaming minute? That's a lot of money." I'm like, "No, dude, I want to do it that way. It's for us."
Nice. That's cool. It sounds like you've got a lot of great content. It sounds like you've been also getting some really good feedback from other filmmakers and stuff. What's the, if you don't mind me asking, what's the long-term plan for the platform?
The long-term plan is after I reach a certain number of subscribers, which is why I'm pushing them so much, I'm going to, which I didn't know before I got into building the platform, is you need to have an app built for every single platform. So if you want to be on Roku, separate app. If you want to be on Apple, different app. And I've been talking with the developers that developed this, and they're willing to do it, but the price it's up there.
Yeah.
So if I can get enough subscribers, at least I think about 1,000 subscribers, I should be able to build on more platforms, and then the filmmakers are going to be seen in more places, and that's just going to be good for everybody. That's more money for the filmmakers, more exposure for the filmmakers, and people who actually want to see different films
right.
good films,
Yeah,
they'll have a place to go, you know? So that's the long-term goal.
that's so cool. And yeah, as far as content, is there a genre or something that's pretty dominant? Is it more horror, more sci-fi right now, what, or just more experimental?
Right now it's leaning towards more horror. I think a lot of filmmakers do more horror,
Yeah,
but there's some sci-fi on there. There's some action. I have a guy, Patrick Farley. Man, he's a stunt man, and he does his own movies. And
nice.
I've never seen action sequences like what he does in his movies anywhere else. It's top notch, man. It's world class. He's working on his next movie right now. He's filming it, but it's great stuff. So there's action, there's sci-fi on there. I try to reach out to people who do different type of films, but I welcome anybody. If you see Any Nation Network and you're like, I want to submit my film there, drop me a DM and email. We'll get you up there as long as quality is good and it meets the guidelines, because there's certain types of films that I don't take.
Okay.
So as long as it meets the guidelines and the quality is good, you're up. You know what I mean? You're up and rolling. But I do reach out to try to get the most diverse types of films on the platform.
Yeah.
So we can have somebody logging on can just get a taste of everything.
Nice. That's so cool. And you did this during a pandemic, no less.
Yeah.
Which is both tough, but what a perfect time to do it, because so many people are they're stuck at home.
Yeah, and people are conditioned to pay before the pandemic. It was like, what, I'm gonna have one or two streaming platforms that I'm gonna just watch, and that's gonna be it. But then after the pandemic happened and you can't go to theaters as much,
you're right.
People are willing to shell out more money for more apps, more platforms, I should say. So that they'll get Stars now, which maybe they wouldn't. They'll get Showtime, maybe they wouldn't. They'll get HBO Max, and they wouldn't before. So, and our platform being only $4.99, that's nothing,
Yeah.
And it's a great way to support the filmmakers, and you have a platform that you can go watch,
Oh, that's so cool. The now we talked a little bit about Sackman. And you mentioned too that it's quite the family experience as well. But I wanted to share some of the stills and some of the promo art too. Like it's you've got this tone, like there's your son, right? It's very noir, and it's from the visuals and from what I remember from the trailer too. Being having a background in special effects was directing always something that you wanted to do, or was that just something that kind of came along as you went?
Yeah, having a background in visual effects definitely helps, because I'm able to realize what's in my head. Right. But I've always been a storyteller. Even when I was a kid, I wanted to tell stories, doing little comic books on paper and pencil and everything. And so I've always had an imagination. I've always been a storyteller. Cool. And I finally found my medium. For a long time, I didn't know what it would be. I thought it would be comic books at first. Then I thought it would be animation, 3D animation. And then I landed at film. And it's just after working, with the incredible people I worked with, that gave me a shot,
That's so cool.
I was able to, kind of go to school, behind the scenes, see what things do, what a DP does, and what, script supervisor does, and what, just everything. And I was like, what, I could do this, this is a good way for me to tell my stories.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And here's some of the promotional art for Sackman, but here's the poster. Let me drop this banner down. There you go. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so it's pretty moody as well. Yeah, I can't help but think too. It's like it's almost like and I granted, having not seen the actual film yet, I always like the idea of like filmmakers creating their next Jason character or their next Candyman. Like was it 10 years ago? Over 10 years ago, you had guys like Adam Green that came out with, Hatchet, which was like his homage to the slasher films. And that, took off in its own, independent film series as well. And, he even, got slapped with a lot of, recourse and from theater chains and stuff that refused to show that movie, or at least one of them, I think, too. So it was interesting to hear.
Yeah, and he got Kane Hodder to do it. That's amazing.
Yeah,
he got Jason to play his. That's great.
So now he's attached to multiple iconic characters.
Right.
Yeah, and I think for any actor too, that's like that's something they want to set out to do is have a role that becomes somewhat immortalized or ingrained in some culture, whether it's film culture, pop culture, just hitting some kind of zeitgeist.
And I see it all the time, man. You go to these film festivals, and there's even on have you ever seen the documentary Into the Darkness?
I've seen part of one, and I saw that there's part 2 as well. And I think they're like 4-hour, or the first one's like a 4-hour documentary. I'm like, man, I need a lot of coffee for that.
I watched both of them. They're both 4 hours, and the third one's going to be 4 hours too.
Oh my God.
But man, those guys. It's funny. There was one woman on there. She's like, I've done so many films, in my life, and the only one anyone remembers me for is being in this Friday the 13th movie. He's like, nobody else, is remembers me from anything else. So they come. It's like she I forget what other movie. I'll just say like 007 or something. Maybe she was in that one. She doesn't have fans flocking to her because she was in 007 and wanting her autograph. It's because she was in Friday the 13th. And that's what they remember her for. And that's, and like you said, I think that's what actors want, to have an iconic role. Maybe they don't appreciate it when they're doing it because like, I want to do other things. I don't want to keep doing this.
Right. Yeah.
But later they totally appreciate it, and they appreciate the fans. So it's good. It's good to see.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've had those conversations with actors where it's like, this thing that, didn't really, it was a paycheck at the time, and it was a foot in the door. And they're like, I wanted to do drama. I wanted to do Shakespeare, and this is the thing that stuck. This is the thing that I'm noted for. I think it's like a comedian, too. You get up there, you got your stand up, and you're like, this bit kills, and sure. But you get known for this little side remark or something, and that ends up being like a meme or what have you, and everything. And that's what your career is defined on. Oh, you're the lampshade guide or whatever. It's like, don't have sex with those. Something kind of weird and obscure like that. So you never know. You never know what's going to hit the public consciousness. And it's I think when that happens, I think that's a beautiful thing, But it's so cool. Growing up, Antoine, what were the films and the TV shows that really gelled with you?
I've always been attracted to the films that build worlds.
Okay.
So like the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
I loved it. Even the prequels, I loved it. You had I wasn't so much into Blade Runner, but I appreciated the aesthetic of it and the world building of it. There was just so much. I feel like, back in the 80s and 90s, even Back to the Future, and I have a ton of just epic movies. Cool Worlds.
Nice.
Man, there's just so many. And it's just like these places where like you go to this place, even Cool World, for example. Have you ever seen that movie? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I really liked, because it was Ralph Bakshi, right?
Mm-hmm.
That did, the animation or oversaw the animation. And it's just so hilarious because it's like, oh, yeah, there's Brad Pitt and Kim Basinger, and it's just like, oh, man, it's such a weird, fun movie.
Yeah, and people, if anybody who's watching, if you've never seen Cool World, it was before Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's about a guy, a cartoonist who draws, this whole world. He calls it the cool world, and then he gets pulled into it, and his world that he made is real. So it's just, I can't even explain to you. It's so weird and bizarre. You know what I mean? It's like almost like heavy metal,
Right.
But it's just this whole world that is so different from the real world, and it just pulls you in. Literally, it pulls you in because of you being the character that's being pulled into the movie. Same thing with like Last Action Hero. I love Last Action Hero.
Oh, okay, nice.
Another movie where they just pull you into their world.
Yeah.
Terminator's the same way. So any movie that was about world building, that built a brand new world with new rules, new everything, it always just sucked me in, and that's kind of why I do what I do now, and why the movies, even Rise of the Avalanche, probably one of my best movies, definitely one of my favorites. And it pulls you in, man. Like that movie is, it takes place in the future. Okay. So there's flying cars. It's very neon, everything. But all the characters are in black and white, and they're wearing hats and trench coats, and so it's just a very different movie stylistically.
Yeah.
And the rules of the world are very different from anything that anyone's ever seen.
Wow. And that was the first film that you directed, right?
Okay, exactly. I did two of those. I did Rise of the Avalanche and Rise of the Avalanche: Revenge from the Shadows. Okay. And the second movie, you get more of the world. The first movie is just like, detective in his office trying to solve a crime. It's more of a murder mystery. Okay. And the second movie is straight up action. There's gunfights. There's flying cars. I always wanted to put flying cars in the movie. There's flying cars. It's great. It's so great.
Nice. Oh, that sounds absolutely, fantastic. And they're all streaming on Independent Nation on ination.network.com, right?
Yep, they're all streaming on Indie Nation Network. I do have some films on Amazon, but I was going to pull them off. But I was like, you know what? If someone happens to find them on here, whatever. Yeah. But they're there too. And I mean, if anybody wants to watch, sign up for Indie Nation Network. It is there. You guys can go Google the trailer. The trailers are on YouTube, so you can check out it looks phenomenal. It's great work. So if you guys are into something a little different, and you love action movies, especially action sci-fi, that's the way to go. Along with Crazy Weapon. Sweet.
Jason just chimed in. Freaking awesome.
That's right, man.
And with that too, like you wanted to do a giveaway as well, right?
Yes. So everybody who's watching now, if you want, I'm giving away an autographed copy of Crazy Weapon 5. It's a limited edition autographed copy. Even the inside is autographed with my name on it. So it's Blu-ray. If you want a copy of it, just after the stream is over, go and send me an email, or actually a DM would be better. I'm not sure what platform you guys are watching it on, but if you have Twitter, hit me up at Indie Film Antoine. I had to remember that. Indie Film Antoine, and then I'll send you a copy, or you can find me on Facebook, whatever. Just say I watched the stream. I want a copy of Crazy Weapon 5. I'll pay for shipping. Don't worry about it. Just shoot me a name and address, and I'll get it to you.
Nice. To follow that up too, anybody that messages us on Facebook, I'll make sure that you get in touch with Antoine, and I think that'll be spectacular. You're incredibly generous. I love it, but that's the beauty. Share your art.
Exactly, and that is the point. Yeah, that is the point. To have an idea, to conceive of an idea, to will it to existence, and then to be able to share it with everyone. I mean, what more could you want as a filmmaker?
Right. Well, filmmakers, at the core, storytellers, right?
Exactly.
And what better way to enlighten and enrich culture? I mean, that's what we all live for. I think is that experience.
Yeah, and it's an escape. It's a ride. There's been so many times where I'm feeling down and need pick me up. And House of Rob, my next film, was all about hope, because we don't have enough movies about hope. But watching the original, the first Star Wars movie, or watching Ready Player One. These movies are incredible, and they're about hope, and you never get those anymore.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like we need to share that. We need to let people know about these movies. There's so many dramatic movies where people are killing and shooting, which is fun.
Yeah.
But Venom was amazing. But it's like it'd be nice to have something that that sticks with you, that makes you feel good, that pulls you into the world and makes you feel a part of it. There's stories about there's someone I know that she didn't feel like she was. She felt kind of isolated, in her world,
right?
And Harry Potter was able to pull her in, make her feel like you connect with that main character, and you're pulled into this world, and you feel that hope, and you feel like what, I may be down in the dumps, but I can do anything. You know what I mean? Same thing with Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief. I'm not sure if you know about the story about that, but
no,
the guy who
movies.
Okay, so the guy who wrote the book and was oversaw the movies and everything, who created the story, he was reading Greek mythologies to his kid. His kid loves Greek mythology, and he ran out of stories to read. So he started making them up for his kid. And then he was like, you know what, these are pretty good. Kind of like what I did with Sackman. He said, these are pretty good. Let me go and write these into a book. And he made them into a book, and they got optioned, and they were movies, and they're fantastic. His kid has ADHD. Same with Percy Jackson. And he was like, you know what, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Okay, so he said, you have ADHD, but you can't stay still. Yeah, that's what warriors have. It's for moving around, for in your attention. I forget what it's called, like with dyslexia. Your dyslexia, you know what I mean? Your brain is hardwired for Greek, not for English. So that's why he was able to go to the museum and read all the Greek. So it's like you have these main characters, these protagonists that identify with the audience and pulls you into this new world, you know what I mean, and gives you hope. Yeah, and that's we need more hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've had this conversation before where that so much of like popular culture right now is focused on grit, and almost to the point of for the sake of grit and edgy, as opposed to it seems like to the disadvantage of the storytelling. Not always. There's a lot of really dark stuff that is amazing.
Like The Expanse. Like The Expanse.
Oh yeah, The Expanse. When I think of like horror films, like almost any horror film, right?
Oh yeah.
But like stuff like Event Horizon is just doom and gloom, but it's so, for me, I really enjoyed that film because it made me feel so uneasy. But I think there needs to be an attempt at balance to give those more optimistic films, optimistic stories, a chance to breathe, especially these days. There's things are so downtrodden, and everything seems so incredibly divisive, and it's like, well, it doesn't have to be. We're all living the human experience, and we just need like those stories to really reconnect on.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And this is the perfect time to do it, And I love documentaries, and there's one on Disney Plus. I think it's a George Lucas documentary. I think it's called In Search of Empires, or Empire of Dreams, I think it's called.
Okay.
And he released Star Wars at a time where everyone was just down and out, and everyone was doom and gloom, and it was successful because of that. So I mean, between the politics, world news, between COVID, between the pandemic, between all the things that are having, like you said, all the negative and divisive things that are going on, a story of hope is exactly what we need right now.
Right, most definitely. Well, the more of that, the merrier.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant, and so. And what a perfect platform, to do that on, then, iNationNetwork.com.
Yep. And it's a great platform. I mean, you can go on there, you can rate what you like, you can add things to your wish list. I mean, it's a great platform, man. It really is.
It's such a, I think it'll be a nice, playground to go in there and find, films and works right on the the starting room floor, right? Because
Oh
you're just
yeah,
now starting to grow the catalog of works and films and shows, and I think that's absolutely brilliant because you go to some place like Netflix, like 10, 15 years ago when it was just starting out, it's like, oh, you can navigate that really easy, but now it's like Amazon Prime too. It's just there's so much clutter that new voices, you know,
hmm
get kind of choked out a little bit, and
yeah,
that can be very frustrating.
yeah, and it's really really hard to find good stuff. I'm finding
Yeah.
even on the other platforms that are independent film friendly, like a Tubi.
Hmm.
You go, I mean, you log on there, man, and it's just like old movies or like I wouldn't even call them B movies, like C movies
Hmm.
from actors that just don't have it anymore. That were great in the 70s, 60s, 80s, but you those are the movies that swallow you up. If you're an independent filmmaker, you put your film on there, you're never going to find it. It's hard to find good stuff. So on Indie Nation Network, you can find all that good stuff. I even have on the front page. I'm not sure if you've seen the I have a video out that shows you the interface,
Okay.
and so I mean that's on the Facebook page as well. If you guys want to check it out, feel free. But the very top thing is if you do the Indie Nation Network, these are some recommendations, and
Right.
it's a nice mix of a lot of different things. All the films on there are great, so you're never going to run into a bad movie,
Yeah.
and you don't get lost. You don't get lost with the avalanche of stuff and recommendations and all kinds of stuff. It's just categories.
Hmm.
Here's what if you're new, start here,
Yeah.
and then the search option is amazing. Like I even told the developers, I'm like, dude, the search is epic. I wish this search was on Netflix, or it's like you can
That's cool.
search by category. I mean, it's robust. You can find what you need, and you
Yeah.
can find good stuff all the time. So
Uh,
it's great. It's great.
That's cool. Well, we'll make sure to share the link on our Facebook page for on the Colorado Festival of Horror Facebook page.
Okay.
Before we close up, we're almost out of time, but I want
Already?
to get your take on what kind of advice would you recommend for new artists and new filmmakers?
Do it. Just do it. I mean, there are a lot of people that I've talked to, and they're just like, there's no way I'm going to get the money. There's running a Kickstarter or buying the equipment, or it's just all these obstacles that they put in their way, and it's just like, dude, grab a cell phone, download Filmic Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do. I'm a mobile filmmaker, so it's like and people don't know until I say it, and they're like, "What? Are you serious?" And I have one best cinematography. I've got all kinds of, you know what I mean? And just from doing it, start it. Even if you shoot a film with just yourself or just people or friends that just do it. I mean, because once you have one, you got one. Maybe it's not good enough to put out. Maybe you don't think it's okay, but you got one. And then from there you can learn more, and from there you can get more credibility. And then it's just like it's a little snowball that just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling until it gets big enough. So just start. Just start.
Nice. That's awesome, Antoine. It was absolutely amazing chatting with you. And tomorrow, Sackman, comes out for the world to see.
Yes.
A nice labor of love, family. I'd say a family film because it's created from a family.
Yeah.
So,
much like A Quiet Place.
Right. Okay. Nice. Yeah. That was another really cool movie.
Another family film, husband wife.
Family film. That's true. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. But yeah, I love what you're doing and all the cool things that you're bringing into the world and the inationnetwork.com, that platform, for new filmmakers and to bring in new works and to share. I mean, that's awesome. I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
That's so cool. And stick around for a few minutes, while we sign off here. But to everybody that tuned in, thanks for all your love and support. And I think we lost Antoine. So, oops. But I want to say, thank you to Hellfire Entertainment for, sticking on there. Oh, there he is. Antoine just there's Antoine.
I don't know.
A big logo on there. I thought you checked out for a second there.
Yeah, it just popped. I just went away. I was like, what the heck?
Oh, that was weird. It was, I was like, I wasn't on my end. So that's weird. But anyway, thanks to Hellfire Entertainment for, broadcasting this out on your social media. And, of course, our friends at Mutiny Cafe. If you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And our friends at Groovy TV. We lost Groovy last year, but we carry on in his stead. And, of course, at Alien Donut Films, our sponsor, to Bill and Angela over there. And to my producers, Amanda Armstrong and Stefan Santa Cruz. Thanks for all your support. And to everybody out there during these tough times, make sure you look out for each other and take care of one another. And remember, we love you, and we'll see you very soon.